Based off the Skybound Entertainment and Image Comics Invincible, which was cinematically released on Amazon Prime in 2021, and which was published the comic-wise back in January of 2003 throughout February of 2018. It's got a total number of 144 issues. And this comic book series is quite amazing. It's based off this one man named Nolan Grayson, aka Omni-Man, who comes from the planet Viltrum. Now, these Viltrumites, they're similar to Kryptonians, like humanoids who are advanced, and they have thick skin, if you will, as Superman says sometimes. I'm just a little thick skinned, that's all. That's from the Justice Society movie World War II. It's part of the Tomorrowverse. And anyway, we're talking about two different things here. His son, Mark Grayson, who is half Viltrumite and half human, because when Nolan Grayson came to Earth, he married a woman named Debbie. Now, Debbie is voiced in the show by Sandra Oh. Love her. Nolan Grayson is voiced by J.K. Simmons. Amazing actor. Mark Grayson is voiced by Steven Yeun, another great actor and voice actor. Back to the plot. So, Nolan Grayson, Omni-Man, is from a planet named Viltrum, and these Viltrumites, they are ruthless warriors. And when I say ruthless warriors, I mean to the point where they basically fought to the death, fought each other on their own planet to the death to see who was the strongest.
To reach their full potential, we had to remove the weak from our society. It was a long and difficult process. When it was over, our population was cut in half. But what emerged from the ashes was unstoppable.
It got rid of millions, if not billions, of their own people because they thought, well, only the strongest will survive. And they literally meant only the strongest will survive. Nolan Grayson was one of them. So at the end of this, all the strongest were set out to go to different planets in different sectors of the universe to conquer those planets. And obviously they were so strong that only one of them was needed to take over a planet, because that's what it is. Like, the Viltrumites are known throughout the galaxy as these ruthless, vicious, angry warriors that have no shame, no decorum, pretty much no heart at all. They live, eat, breathe, and sleep killing and conquering. They are the prime definition of conquerors. So in the comic series and also in the show, we see how Nolan Grayson is at first just this superhero, a great superhero. You know, he's here to help everybody. He works with the Guardians, but he's not part of the Guardians, even though the world and even the Guardians want him to be part of their team because he is just OP as hell. He can literally just do anything and everything. It would take an entire team of superpowered people, and I'm talking the most powerful superpowered people, to even bring him to his knees. And even then, he would still murk him, which in essence, he does. Age of 17, Mark Grayson finally gets his powers and he starts learning. In the show, you know, Nolan like sees it and he's just like,
guess who's finally getting his powers?
Are you sure?
Pretty sure. Threw a trash bag into space.
Oh, that's great, son, just great.
And at first I was like, well, why wouldn't he be excited that his son finally has powers and he's a Viltrumite? You know, like it was just weird to me at first. You know, it's just, I like the way how this was written and how it progressed, not only just in the comics, but also in the show. So in the comics, we have these beings called the Mauler twins. And in the show, we have the Mauler twins as well. We're introduced to them episode 1 because they're an integral part of the comics. And these Mauler twins are voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson. Great actor. Love his voice. He fit the character perfectly. But the Mauler twins basically are trying to create clones of other beings and other superpowered beings to take over the world and take over various things and do their own thing. They have their own agenda, but they are recruited several times by people to get rid of certain beings, or they have their own agenda. Like, there's a character named Robot in the show and he employs their services but doesn't really be forthright about exactly what he's doing. And that's just the thing. Like, it's crazy because I love the way how there's betrayal and deception in this show, because I was fooled big time. I'm sitting here like, wow, what? Because I didn't read the comics before watching the show. I watched about 3 or 4 episodes, which is only 8 episodes a season. Okay, hold on, let me go back. Let me read some of these comics first, and then I read a lot of these comics online. Wow, what a great series of comics. I would love to see a collab between the Invincible comics and DC Comics, and if there isn't one already. I haven't researched that yet. This show also showcased the whole idea behind secret identities, because Mark Grayson goes to school with this girl named Amber, who's voiced by Zazie Beetz. The whole idea behind having a secret identity and double lives, it's really tested here, you know, because he's new to this and he's a kid, he's in high school, he's trying to go to college, but he loves this girl and he's always dipping out, always late, kind of bailing on things. I guess it is what it is, you know, I'm a superhero. Jillian Jacobs, she plays Adam Eve, and I love her in Community. She's in a lot of other things, but she's in Community and she's hilarious. She did a really good job as Adam Eve, and Adam Eve is a very good female character in this show. The dynamic with her family really breaks my heart. Like, watching her with her family and the way how her dad and her mom are just kind of like ashamed of her and her powers, and her dad just degrades her for having these powers. It's like, yo, what the hell, man? Like, your daughter can materialize anything and everything at any given point in time, and it's real. And there's a scene where she materializes like a whole playground and everything, and it's like, it's real stuff, like real stuff that you can touch and play on and do things with, and it'll last. But it's wild how someone like that, who could create anything out of nothing, just gets degraded by the people who should support her the most. This series is so well done, and it spoke to me heavily. This is the first video about Invincible that I'm doing, but I'm going to do a few more because there's so many things about this show and the comics to talk about that I want to get to. So throughout this whole series, or at least the first season of this series, we are going through Mark's journey as an up-and-coming superhero. As I said it earlier about how Omni-Man completely wrecks an entire team of heroes, and it's unfortunate, but it happens early on. He feels threatened. His son finally gets powers, and the initial instinct in him, the competitive instinct in him, and raw, ruthless killer in him emerges finally. And he sees these other Guardians as a threat, because in order for him to take over the planet, the people have to be weak and succumb to him. In order to take over Earth, he needs to have no one standing in his way, and the one thing standing in his way are the Guardians, well, along with his son. And some of the Guardians include the Immortal, Warrior Woman, Red Rush, the Martian. There's so many other heroes in this thing that could stand in his way, and that did stand in his way. But at the end of the day, Omni-Man wrecks. By the end of the series, we see, you know, that infamous image of Omni-Man standing over his brutally beaten son. Gotta think, because wow, when we get to that point, geez, it is nuts. It is nuts how just Omni-Man is just a brutal, ruthless man, even with his own son. Thank you guys for watching this video about a little bit of the discussion about season 1 of Invincible and a little bit of the comics. In the next video that I talk about Invincible, we'll dive even more into season 1, a little bit more about certain episodes, and a little bit more about comics and the issues that I've read and how certain things play out and why certain things played out the way they did. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you can get a notification anytime there's a new video. Thanks again for watching, guys. Until the next one.